Angry Steph in the second half, man. That was so needed. That was an actually fun game. I know it's the Blazers and we should be beating them, blah blah blah. Who cares, man? We won, and it was fun. It felt like the Warriors in a way, and it was an entertaining, fun game, which is what I'm looking for with these, man. I'm gonna set my expectations lower and just enjoy these moments, man. We still have Steph playing at an awesome level. We still have a lot of young guys we can enjoy around, and we still have the core intact. And I'm gonna enjoy it as much as possible. And if something better and bigger comes out of it, just even better. But I'm changing the mindset, and let's just enjoy the ride while it's still here. And in the first half, the ride started as, only Steph would do it, man. The ugly start once again, and Steph was out there just looking like he did not get sleep last night, because he was out there just goofy around and turnovers galore. We had 7 turnovers in the first quarter. It was hilarious. And, Wiggins was back. Chris Paul was back. Wiggins, of course, started. And we looked flat early on. It was a little weird. Like I said, Steph was out there just turning the ball over a lot. And we were overall with those 7 turnovers. And Moses Moody came in first with Saric for Clay and Looney, which I like to see. And it was also better to see that the turnovers were more about them trying to increase the pace to what usually feels more like the Warriors, and play just a little faster basketball, get those transition buckets from time to time, those 10 transition 3-pointers. And it was great to see. It is needed, especially against these young, athletic, lengthy teams where it's so much harder to gain separation against them when those young guys can get set and have much more time to just lock in defensively. And, this Portland team has so many interesting young guys, right? Matisse Thybulle is great defensively. Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons have been working really well defensively. You have Scoot off the bench, who's athletic as heck. And then these centers, of course, DeAndre Ayton was out even today, and you had still Kamara and, what's his name, the Australian, Reef, that's the guy. And they're all actually really good, right? And you have Jabari Walker off the bench still, so they have a lot of lengthy, athletic guys, and you need to get those easy buckets against them as much as possible, even though it's hard to get against them, because they played as hard as they could, man. And I hope this Blazers team can stay healthy, because Malcolm Brogdon did not stay in the game, and he missed the whole second half, which was just unfortunate to see, because I think this Blazers team, has playing potential when they're fully healthy, to me. But we'll have to wait and see for that. Maybe I'm just, blinded by today's performance of them. And as for the returning guys, let's talk about Wiggins and Chris Paul. Chris Paul was back, and he tried playing a little faster. He was also, to me, barely noticeable in this game. And Wiggins, he struggled, but at least he was aggressive on both sides of the floor. So I'll take what I can get from Wiggins, really. And in the first half, man, the Blazers, lengthy guards and athletic wings and everything, they played harder, faster, better, stronger. Okay, that was special. And what was the biggest question mark I had at the half was, where the heck was Jonathan Kuminga? Like, I get that Kerr wants to play Podziemski. I love seeing Pods out there. I get that Kerr wants to play Moody, of course. I like to see Moody out there, but you need to adjust, man, and you need to goddamn handle those egos, Kerr, because you need a guy like Kuminga against these players. You just need him. And you need to tighten the rotations up, man. We need to switch it up, which we'll talk about a little later on, because we'll probably will do that. Nonetheless, Kuminga did not play in the first half, and the Blazers were all over us. They were just great. And in the first half, they won 54-48 for 10 turnovers out of us. And were simply the better team. They shot 9 of 25 from the 3-point line. We shot 2 of 16. They also put up 10 more shots in the first half, which, yeah, it made sense, right? And in the third quarter, it continued. It was more of so the same, man. Once again, we were just not lackadaisical, but we were just looking a little too old and not young enough against these Blazers. But then finally came Kuminga. and he came in with, what was it? With like 5 minutes left in the third quarter. The play before that, before the timeout, Steph was really angry. You could see it on him. We bounced the ball after a made basket by the Blazers, and you could see he was fucking pissed. And mixture of that with Kuminga finally coming in as the finally, 6'8" wing we have that is actually athletic. It was beautiful. Steph played like a completely different player afterwards. He finally got going in that third quarter, especially at the end, and in the second half overall. And Kuminga's athleticism was just instantly seen, and he was sensational. He played really well today. He did have some missteps, but everybody on this team really does. And for Kerr to not play him over some smaller mistakes, I know that he's athletic, younger, and that's why you don't want to, that's why you want him to be as perfect as possible in those areas. But you don't get perfect by getting benched. You get better. And you can even get perfect really, but you get better by playing through those mistakes, and Kerr has to realize that, and he did today, as Kuminga pretty much played from those 5 minutes where he was subbed in with 5 minutes left in the third quarter throughout the game. He played 16:44. He was subbed out for one free throw possession, but he played essentially 16 minutes straight from there. He was 6 of 6 from the field, 13 points for him, and it was great to see him. He has to force Kerr's hand at the end of the day here, and he had 2 of his best games of the season today, and 2 games prior to this where he had his best game of the season against the Clippers, and then barely played against them the next game after. And Kerr just has to adjust. I love Quotes, but you can't be playing 4 guard lineups. They played Steph, Chris Paul, Podziemski, Moody. Those 4 players together out there, while Kuminga was sitting. Can't do that, Steve, man. I'm sorry, but you can't do that. Especially when you see Looney not being fast and athletic enough. He's been looking out of shape, and he's just not been that good this year. He's been fairly bad this year, you could say. And Clay, while I'm not on the bandwagon that Clay is washed, it is intriguing to see what Athletic Alchemy has been pointing out, that he doesn't favor that right leg of his and doesn't want to fall on it. And you can see it in his balance of shooting, and he was out there once again shooting some bad shots. He was forcing today. And it might have been that there was too much time between the last game and this game, and that he actually has been playing better. So I'm not going to be like, just bench Clay, but you should be able to adjust those minutes where Clay is clearly not playing well. And he did have one clutch 3-pointer, but he also did pull one absolutely insanely bad 3-pointer in the fourth quarter. And you see Kerr being loyal to his guys, which you get. You won the championships with them, but it holds no accountability for them. And you couldn't be mad at Kuminga, Moody, and others if, they don't get chances and you see these guys make mistakes. It's hard, to set a good example for them this way. And thankfully, we saw a different thing today. Kuminga played through some mistakes, and he did blow some bad switches, and he did gamble on one play that I know Kerr was like, I'm going to get him out of there, and he did not, which I was so happy to see. And we just need to mix it up way more. And Kerr said this game needed athleticism after the game. It feels like he always knows the perfect thing to say and doesn't really, deliver on it when you think about it. And we need that every game, Steve. And he did say once again, perfecting after the game. They may have to think about moving the starting lineup around game to game depending on the matchup, instead of those fixed rotations that they had. If that happens, I'm happy, I'm great. That's what I want to see, Steve. But he also said Kuminga had his best game of his season, and then the next game he barely played against the Clippers, and then this game he was DNP'd for the first half. So can you trust Kerr with this? Who knows, man. But a great win. It was still more Warriors-like. I know I said I was going to be more positive, but I think I kind of was still. But it needed to be said. It was one of the most fun games this season to me. Maybe because I shifted my mindset. Maybe because, we won a close game. Who knows, but probably a mixture of everything. And I'll leave you with this, man. The alley-oop at the end was peak Draymond to Iguodala. Instead, it was, of course, Kuminga today.
Draymond's naked handoff.
And nothing better than seeing Steph with kicks to sleep. Vi cancel 60 others as always.
Shot. He'll still be one possession game unless they make it 3.